Welcome back to the LeverUp AMA series. I'm Marcus. Today we're doing something we haven't done before on this show, a direct comparison. Hyperliquid comes up constantly when people talk about on-chain perps. James is here from the LeverUp team. James, I want to be upfront about the framing here. This isn't going to be a why we're better episode, right?
Right, and that's important to say clearly. Hyperliquid and LeverUp are both on-chain perpetual venues, and both get cited as examples of what a next-generation perp DEX looks like. But they're built on meaningfully different foundations. This is a structural comparison, not a ranking. Each design optimizes for different things.
Let's start with the most basic difference, the chains themselves.
Hyperliquid runs on its own purpose-built L1, designed from the ground up around its own order book and matching engine. That vertical integration gives Hyperliquid full control over its execution environment. The trade-off is that most of what happens on that chain happens because Hyperliquid itself built it.
And LeverUp's the opposite of that.
LeverUp is built on Monad, a general-purpose, high-throughput EVM-compatible L1. That means LeverUp inherits Monad's broader ecosystem, other protocols, other liquidity, composability with the rest of Monad DeFi, rather than operating inside a chain built around one application. The trade-off runs the other direction from Hyperliquid's. Less vertical control over the execution environment, but more surface area to plug into an ecosystem that isn't just LeverUp.
Neither of those is obviously correct as a starting point.
No, vertical integration versus ecosystem composability. That's a real fork in strategy, and both are defensible depending on what you're trying to build.
Now the part I think people actually care most about, how each one sources liquidity. Hyperliquid uses an order book, right?
Hyperliquid uses a central limit order book model, trades match against resting orders, and the HLP vault, Hyperliquid provider, is a public depositor-funded market-making vault that supplies liquidity on the other side of the book, sharing PNL with its depositors.
And LeverUp doesn't have anything like that.
Correct, LeverUp uses a different execution model entirely. Rather than matching against an order book or a depositor-funded market-making vault, LeverUp uses a protocol-managed virtual liquidity architecture powered by the VMMV, where trades reference Oracle pricing while execution, settlement, and risk management are handled at the protocol layer, without an external vault of depositor capital in the path.
So which one's actually better at sourcing deep liquidity?
That's the wrong axis to compare them on, honestly. Both models solve the same underlying problem, sourcing the liquidity a trade settles against, through different means. An order book plus a market-making vault is a proven, liquidity-deep design that scales with depositor capital and active market makers. Protocol-managed virtual liquidity trades that liquidity depth model for execution that doesn't depend on order book, fill quality, or vault depositor participation. Neither one is a strictly better solution to the problem. They're different bets on what to depend on.
Let's talk collateral and market scope, because I think this is where the two venues actually look most different day to day.
Hyperliquid's collateral and market design centers on USDC margin and a deep, fast-growing lineup of crypto-native perp markets. LeverUp's AnyCollateral system extends margin beyond a single stablecoin, supporting MON, LVUSD, and LVMON alongside USDC, with more Monad ecosystem tokens added through the AnyCollateral program. LeverUp's market list also extends into RWA, gold, and US equities, alongside crypto-native pairs, which is a scope choice distinct from a crypto perps first venue.
So if someone only ever wants to trade crypto pairs with deep, order book liquidity, Hyperliquid's design is arguably more purpose-built for that.
That's a fair read. And if someone wants collateral flexibility beyond a single stablecoin or RWA exposure alongside crypto, LeverUp's scope is built for that instead. It's not that one covers more in some abstract sense, they're targeting different trading needs.
What about where the money actually goes? Fee revenue, who gets it?
Both protocols route trading fee revenue back into their own ecosystems rather than to an external LP layer in the traditional sense, but the specific mechanisms differ by design. On LeverUp, fees flow into XLV staking distributions and the YLV buyback mechanism. Hyperliquid's fee model routes into its own assistance fund and buyback mechanics, tied to its Hype token and the HLP vault structure.
So structurally similar goal, different plumbing.
Right, both are trying to route value back toward participants in their respective ecosystems. The mechanics of how that happens follow from each protocol's underlying architecture, which is really the theme running through this whole comparison. The liquidity model, the collateral system, and the fee routing are all downstream of that first choice, vertically integrated chain versus ecosystem composability.
If someone's trying to decide between the two, what's actually the question they should be asking themselves?
Not which is better, because that's not a well-formed question here. It's which set of trade-offs fits how they actually want to trade, vertical chain control versus ecosystem composability, order book depth versus protocol-managed settlement, crypto-native focus versus RWA breadth. Hyperliquid's bet is a vertically integrated order book native chain purpose-built for perp trading, with deep liquidity sourced from a public market-making vault. LeverUp's bet is protocol-managed virtual liquidity built on a general-purpose ecosystem chain, with collateral flexibility and RWA market access extending beyond crypto-native pairs.
Neither is a verdict.
Neither is a verdict. They're different answers to the same design question, and which one's right depends entirely on what the trader's actually optimizing for.
James, I think that's about as fair a comparison as this topic's going to get. Appreciate you not turning it into a pitch.
Anytime.